The midnight air was thick with tension as the base gates loomed ahead, bathed in the harsh glow of floodlights. Officer Riley tightened her grip on the ID card in her hand, her breath visible in the cold night. She had passed through this checkpoint countless times before, but tonight felt different, like the air itself was warning her of something. Two guards, younger than her and clearly bored out of their minds, leaned against the gatehouse, smirking as she approached. ID, one of them barked, barely lifting his eyes from a cracked smartphone screen. His partner chuckled behind him. Riley slid the laminated card across the counter. The guards exchanged glances, their amusement barely concealed. "This isn't gonna get you in, sweetie," the first guard said, tapping the card as if it were a flimsy piece of plastic. "Looks fake to me." Riley's jaw tightened. She had no patience for jokes at this hour. "Check it properly," she said evenly. "You'll see it's valid." The second guard leaned over, inspecting the card more closely, but he couldn't hide the teasing grin that spread across his face. "Valid, please. You expect us to believe you're cleared for midnight access with that?" She exhaled slowly, her eyes narrowing. Normally, she would have argued her way through, shown paperwork, contacted her superior, but something inside her told her to remain calm. Reaching into her pocket, she pulled out the small, circular Ranger coin she carried. It gleamed in the harsh light, the insignia catching the glow like a warning flare. She set it on the counter with deliberate precision. The smirk on the first guard's face faltered slightly as he leaned in for a closer look. "What's that?" he asked, though there was a trace of unease creeping into his voice. Riley met his gaze without a word. She didn't need to explain. This coin wasn't just a token, it was a signal that she was more than she appeared, a badge of authority that demanded immediate respect. Before the guards could react further, a low, metallic hum reverberated through the air. Lights flickered, sirens pierced the quiet, and a deep automated voice echoed over the base speakers. "Base lockdown initiated. All personnel, secure your positions immediately." Panic sparked in the guards' eyes as red warning lights began to spin, casting frantic shadows across the gatehouse walls. Riley calmly slid past them, her movements deliberate and unhurried as if the chaos unfolding around her were expected. The guards stumbled backward, fumbling with radios, trying to contact someone, anyone, as the gates slammed shut automatically with a resounding clang. Every access point, every corridor, every external entrance had sealed, leaving them trapped inside the perimeter they were supposed to monitor. The hum of automated security systems intensified, a subtle yet unmistakable sign that this was no ordinary lockdown. Riley's pulse remained steady. The coin had done its job. What the guards had mocked moments ago had become the trigger for a protocol they didn't even know existed, and she walked past them with quiet authority, the echo of the lockdown behind her reminding everyone present that some things were never to be underestimated. Alarms blared across the sprawling compound, echoing off concrete walls and steel hangers, while red lights strobe flashed through the corridors. Officers scrambled, radios crackling with frantic chatter as the unexpected lockdown threw the base into chaos. Riley moved with deliberate calm, her footsteps silent on the cold, hard pavement. Everyone else was panicked, running toward doors and panels, trying desperately to override a system that wasn't meant to be interrupted. The guards who had mocked her ID moments ago were now frozen behind the gatehouse window, eyes wide, mouths slightly open. Their earlier bravado had evaporated completely. Riley caught a glimpse of them as she passed, one fumbling with a handheld radio while the other pounded on a locked door, a mixture of fear and disbelief on his face. The base's automated systems had turned what they thought was a routine checkpoint into a high-alert fortress. Every electronic lock had sealed, surveillance cameras pivoted toward every corridor, and drones buzzed above, scanning for anomalies. Riley knew exactly what needed to be done. She moved toward the command center, her coin tucked securely in her hand like a silent key. The hallway was almost eerily empty. Most personnel had taken cover, leaving only a few security officers trying in vain to regain control of doors and consoles. Riley's eyes scanned the panels beside her, reading access codes and emergency alerts almost instinctively. The system recognized her authority, not because of her ID, which they had mocked, but because of the Ranger coin she carried, a token of clearance few had ever earned. Inside the command center, technicians were shouting over one another, frantically typing into keyboards as the main monitors flashed warnings. "What's happening? Who triggered the lockdown?" one of them demanded, panic lacing her voice. Riley stepped forward, voice firm, cutting through the chaos. "I did. Step back and follow protocol." The room went quiet for a moment, everyone suddenly aware that she wasn't asking, they were obeying. Outside, drones shifted their flight paths, sweeping through corridors and open spaces, tracking any movement that didn't match authorized personnel profiles. Guards and soldiers who had underestimated Riley were now ducking behind walls, realizing too late that the rules had changed. Riley moved with purpose, guiding technicians to verify the lockdown sequence and ensure all critical areas were secured. Her calm contrasted sharply with the frenzy around her, a reminder that authority was not always in the hands of the uniformed or the loudest voices. By the time the command center stabilized, Riley had mapped every access point, every personnel location, and every potential threat in real time. The base was secure, but the tension remained. Outside, guards whispered among themselves, glancing nervously at the Ranger coin she still held, understanding finally that the authority it represented wasn't just symbolic, it was operational. It had turned a moment of mockery into a full-scale exercise of control, and Riley had orchestrated it all without raising her voice or breaking a sweat. The air was still thick with adrenaline, every corner alive with the hum of emergency systems, but Riley allowed herself a small, satisfied exhale. The lockdown had worked exactly as intended, and now it was only a matter of moving forward with the mission she had been sent to complete. The base was a fortress of red lights and blaring alarms, yet Riley moved through it like she belonged to every corridor, every locked gate, every surveillance monitor. The technicians followed her silently, hands trembling over keyboards, but trusting her command. Every door she passed obeyed her, every automated turret and drone pivoted in response to her presence, and the guards who had mocked her ID were now nowhere to be seen, swallowed by the controlled chaos she had orchestrated. Her objective was clear: reach the central intelligence hub and extract the data before anyone realized what had truly happened. Time was against her, and with every second, the base's lockdown protocols were tightening. She moved swiftly, yet with measured precision, reading the subtle signals from security cameras, pressure-sensitive floors, and automated drones. One wrong move could alert higher-ups or trigger a full defensive response. As she entered the intelligence hub, the room was a frenzy of red warning lights and urgent communications. Technicians glanced at her, wide-eyed, and she gave a single nod, directing them to follow the emergency extraction protocol. With the Ranger coin in her hand, she accessed a secured terminal, the system recognizing her authority instantly. Files decrypted and data began to flow, every byte a confirmation that the mission was on track. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. A squad of armed guards had mobilized, alerted by the lockdown but unaware of her true authority. Riley didn't flinch. She held up the coin briefly, and immediately, the system locked down external access points even more aggressively, confining the intruders in a separate wing. The hum of drones intensified, and automated turrets pivoted toward the corridor, a silent but unmistakable warning. The guards froze, their faces a mix of disbelief and fear. Riley's calm was unnerving. She moved to finish the data transfer, every second precise, every movement deliberate. Within moments, the extraction was complete, the information secure. The lockdown slowly began to lift, lights returning to normal, alarms silenced, but the guards and personnel now looked at her differently. Respect replaced mockery, awe replaced skepticism. The coin had done more than trigger a lockdown, it had proven authority, skill, and resolve. Riley stepped out into the main corridor, the night still dark but now quiet, almost serene. The mission was complete, the base secure, and she had demonstrated that true authority was earned, not mocked. She paused, looking back at the chaos now calmly contained, and allowed herself a small, confident smile. For everyone watching this story unfold, remember, courage and preparation can turn even ridicule into triumph. If you enjoyed following Riley's mission, her poise, and the power of the Ranger coin, make sure to subscribe to Her Stories Words for more gripping tales of bravery, intelligence, and unexpected heroism. Every story there shows that sometimes, the most underestimated person can change everything with the right move at the right time. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and join us for more stories that inspire, thrill, and captivate.